Alright, welcome to the Circle of Grace 1. We're up now and running. This is for our show the 23rd of February. We're starting off right about at 5:04 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're looking forward to deliver two messages, one from the late Reverend Ike about the importance of writing a vision, and the second one has to deal with being connected to the divine source, which is from a teaching of the late Wayne Dyer. So I'm going to have some people join in a second through their particular modes of connecting to the internet. Many might be hearing this through Facebook, and this is an opportunity to put forward some information that everyone can utilize. So before we get started, I'm going to open up with our usual affirmative prayer treatment, which is also a decree, a universal decree. Through divine power and by divine grace, may all of you who have the opportunity to hear today's show live or later in the archives here or within an hour or so after the show is off, you can also hear it in my YouTube channel. May you be blessed by the words that you hear here. May these words be seeds unto you for your soul, for your own advancement, so that your own spiritual path can widen. May you be blessed by the energy behind the words that comes forward in these messages today from late Dr. Wayne Dyer and the late Dr. Frederick Ike, better known as Reverend Ike. So these teachings are going to help a lot of people, and this is why I'm introducing them as far back as last year, because their information is greatly needed at this time, and it will help reorganize our minds, our directions, our purposes, so that we can live a more deliberate life on purpose, and so that we bring more happiness to ourselves and to the world around us. Amen. And so shall it is, and so it shall be. I see and decree that this is true for you, as well as myself and our ancestors that are tuning in, our various spirit guides and masters. So today's show is all about getting you acquainted with Reverend Ike's teachings as well as Dr. Wayne Dyer's teachings. And they both were gentlemen who had a lot of information for people. They really put forward a lot. Many may know and remember many of the teachings that Dr. Wayne Dyer did, and he would present them partially on PBS stations on TV so that people can gain that information. And then, of course, Reverend Ike, when he was around, he would go all over the country speaking, and as well as not only at different centers but different shows. I remember seeing him on the Phil Donahue show many moons ago, back in the 1980s or so, and he appeared on many other people's shows, and he would go around and give the lectures that he gave, which were very unique, and they were universally for everyone. Now, the message from Wayne Dyer later on will be the fourth principle. It's a part of a book that he wrote, and it's dealing with the source of your imagination is the divine source. So it's your connection between what God is to you and to yourself, God in you, and how you can attract to yourself whatever you desire into your life. And this is a life principle, so these life principles are always in action with us all the time. And the thing is that we have to keep activating them. It's just like once you learn how to walk, you still keep walking. Once you learn how to ride a bike, you still keep riding a bike. Why? So that you can have greater balance each and every time, uh, whether it's driving a car. And once you ingrain this repetition inside yourself, once you have done that, you never really forget it. So it is a continuous process that's going on inside of us. And Reverend Ike he coined a lot of phrases all the time. And one of them he used to always say was, it's an inside job, meaning all of your changes in your life happen on the inside of you. And the people you meet in your life are different parts of yourself. So he would always say that you are meeting yourself in all the different experiences. So I'm actually going to read something here from his chapter, and this is chapter for him, chapter 19. Now he used the title "How Sweet It Is." Um, that was a title that he used, but he in essence gave credit to the person who used it, and that was the entertainer Jackie Gleason, who used to say that, how sweet it is, meaning that whenever your life was falling in order, with a divine order behind it from the universe, it carried you forward to be able to create your own destiny. Jackie Gleason would say, how sweet it is. And so Reverend Ike adopted that as a chapter here. And one of the most important things that he is talking about is that your life gets sweeter every time you have that kind of attitude with yourself. So if you see that as the sweetness of of your experience, you will draw more of those experiences into yourself. And this is something that you will distinctly enjoy and bring forward for yourself. And I see I'm going to need more light, so hold on a second. I didn't realize I was in. Looks like I'm sleeping. Yeah. Thank you. I was saying, gee, did I? Am I going to sleep? That's my producer in the back. So those of you who are, mine will self-adjust. But you can also self-adjust your image from your side. You just make it a little brighter. I have what they call a median resolution on here, and I'm also capturing a very strong light coming through. And I think I've been emanating this light myself today, and it looks like a dot on my face here. But um, some of the highlights of this chapter, how sweet it is the sweetness of life. And as your life sweetens up, it's taking positive action and then counting your blessings. So every time you experience a blessing in your life, this phrase, how sweet it is, really becomes an affirmation. You're acknowledging that the goodness is flowing into your life and is flowing through you. So this is something that you are always seeking to fulfill within yourself. And you are realizing that this is happening in every moment around you. So in the portion where that I'm going to read, he says you must write the vision. Now he has a little short poem here, but I'm not going to include well, I guess I should because he's actually using some of the symbols. And he said it was a few lines from an old Christmas poem. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their hands. So he comes out and he expresses. Now, these are his exact words. You know, I always look for the principles behind everything, and the symbols in this verse will help me make my point. As I've said, sugar represents the sweetness of life. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, indicates that the consciousness, the reasoning mind, is put to rest while you use your imagination to create and to see things as you want them to be. That's why I tell you that the best time to visualize is just before you go to sleep at night. We'll stop right there for a moment. Because many times and I know I've done it too, well, I'll practice my meditation and visualization during the daytime. But what he is saying here is that if you do this just before going to sleep, if you put the visualization process down, if you visualize what it is that you desire to have or desire to do or to be in your life, what happens is the visualization that you're putting out into the ethers through yourself starts to fall back into the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is where you have the greatest connection beyond your heart chakra. It is your subconscious mind that allows you to bring up all of the opportunities and life experiences so that you can experience these opportunities that you're seeking to acquire in your own life, that you seek to attract magnetically through your feelings into your life. So this is important. He says, that's why I tell you that the best time to visualize is just before you go to sleep at night. Now, that also means that you're not going to be analyzing anything. You see, what he is saying is you're allowing the last images, the last sounds, the last colors to be something that you desire. And this is why I often say to a lot of people who have TVs in their home, and it's okay if you have them, is the only thing is don't fall asleep with them on. Unless you've got something playing through there that's very positive. If not, and you're playing a TV and you're falling asleep to something, then the images that are there and the sounds that you hear and the vibrations that come through them will settle down into your subconscious mind. And then when you begin to have a dream, what will happen is your dream is influenced by those things that were flowing through the TV set. So often, Reverend Ike would call our minds, he would call it the theater of the mind. That's the term he would use, the theater of the mind. So that when you are envisioning something, it's like you're sitting before a movie screen, but the movie screen is your own subconscious mind. So you're burying these treasures, which are visualizations, deeply and richly, so much that you begin to feel them and they begin to accumulate, and then sooner or later your subconscious mind is overflowing, you see, with the visualizations. So he says, always go to sleep with visions of sugar plums, in quotes, dancing in your head, which means go to sleep seeing and feeling yourself being, doing, and having the good which you desire. See, this is what he was actually always teaching the people at his United Palace there up there in Manhattan on the west side. He was always saying, go to sleep seeing and feeling yourself being, being, being in motion, in action, doing. See, he put those particles, what they call participles, on the end of these words, so that it takes on action, takes on a greater action, not just be, do, and have, but being what you want, doing what you desire, and having the goodness of it, which is inside you. And then he says, while you are asleep, see, this is the part, while you are asleep, your destiny is arranged in the subconscious. So we have the conscious mind, which puts us in this beta state where we're constantly thinking and constantly analyzing. But he is saying the treasure of your dreams and the treasure of your visions And all of that will be embedded in the subconscious mind. That's where your higher self, which is your soul, your spiritual, your Holy Spirit side, is inside rearranging all of these visions for you, creating your destiny for you while you are asleep. Then he says, learn to quote unquote dream dreams and see visions. I'm going to repeat that. Learn to dream dreams and see visions. Why? Because those are the two things that are going on inside of our mind, a dream and a vision. So before, in fact, let me just complete it. Learn to thrill to the vision of yourself being, doing and having the good which you desire. So that's the thrill that you seek, is to have the visions, you see, to learn to have them. That's what you get excited about. All right? So when he said in here, dream dreams and see visions, I think the late Dr. Martin Luther King said it kind of the same way. Without a dream or a vision, the people shall perish, meaning they don't know where they're going, okay? So you're always having a dream out in front of you. You're also putting a vision. Now, in the word vision is VIS, which has to do with seeing, you see. It's the act of consciously seeing and seeing on a deeper level. But the ION part actually represents a charged particle. So you're charging the atmosphere from within with your inner sight and exactly what it is that you are desiring to see. So the more you practice doing the visualization at night, the more you will give in to the flow of the universal chi, which is prana or ki or spirit. You will give into that, you will relax into that, and you will begin to see it inside of yourself, which we call an envision, ENVISION. Now you're seeing it on the inside, and that's where you're supposed to see the vision. That's where you have the dreams. They're on the inside of you. So now, when he says dream the dreams, he says go all out. That's what he is saying. Don't limit yourself. Go all out and dream the best dream you could dream. Dream the biggest dream that you can dream. Make it high powered. Make it colorful. Make it exciting. Make it joyful. Let it show happiness to you and a lot of excitement to you. And then he says, see the vision. The vision would be the jewel inside of that dream. The vision will become the jewels inside of the dream. And also, when I used to teach a seminar, and I have a PDF on it called Understanding Your Dreams. There are two things, or several things, that are happening in your dreams. One of the most important of the two things that are going on is that usually when people have a dream, they can see themselves in the dream. So now that's different. That's even more symbolic. You can see yourself as if you're watching yourself on a movie screen inside of the dream. So now as you're watching yourself inside of the dream, you are now seeing everything that's going on around you. But the key part of this now, the key part of this is if you're in the dream, and just like you are in your physical body, you don't see your face unless you see a reflection of your face. So if you're in the dream and you don't see your face, you can see everything else, your hands, the front of your body, and so forth. I always would say that you are in what we call your dream body. So when you're in your dream body, you have a better chance to experience what we call lucid dreaming. LUCID, lucid dreaming, which means while you are asleep, you awaken in the dream. As you awaken in the dream, then you get a chance to control the outcome. Not only are you controlling the outcome of the dream, but you're controlling all the steps going on before you and around you so that you could have the proper series of arrangements or events to go on in your life and you could see it through. That's the same thing as saying when you watch actors and actresses on stage, what is the director doing? The director is making sure that each person, whatever part they are playing, they are carrying out that role specifically. And they're creating what? The attitude of the character. So much that you believe in the character that is there in the play. And people who are able to do that, they could play a character that's considered a bad guy. Like, Denzel Washington, he was always had these sweet roles. And then he did Training Day. When he did Training Day, nobody liked him. They hated the fact that he took that character in Training Day and made him real. So real that you did not like the character that he played. And that was the whole concept. You weren't supposed to like that character. Who would? So, I use that as an example. When Reverend Ike is saying, dream the dream, you're doing your best to dream the biggest dream, most exciting dream that's going to change your life in some way and will continue to change your life. But then you have to see the vision. The vision is the part that's going to get you from point A to point B. The most important thing is between those 2 points are subtler, much more different layers of experiences. So when you are seeing the vision, the most important thing about being able to see the vision is being able to maintain with yourself a strong sense of direction. Okay? Because if you don't, you will slide off the path. When you awaken from that dream, which you then realize is a vision, as you begin to carry the vision out, live the vision out in faith and trust, if you don't have the necessary tools, which one of them is discernment, another one have to be able to do a lot of things. But it's so important with what he was saying is all you got to do is decide what you want. All you have to do is create positive actions around yourself. Count your blessings. And as you count the blessings, then what did he tell you to do? He said, declare how sweet it is. So this is the first part of our message in this program. We want to make sure that we are getting it. And he had another part. He said, get it into your head or get it in your head. That once you do that, once it's in your mind, once it gets into the subconscious, then you can begin to delineate between the positives and the negatives even before it gets there. Because the subconscious mind, that part of yourself, um, is not a part of yourself that pays attention to whether it's right or wrong kind of energy. It's paying attention to the feelings that come behind the thought. Okay, so the subconscious is paying attention to the feelings that come behind the thought, the energy. And when that energy takes place, when something is truly in repetition over and over and over, the subconscious is looking at how many times a certain element is appearing. If that element is outriding, if it's very positive, now it doesn't judge whether it's positive or negative. See, the subconscious mind is very much like the external spirit mind, the universal mind. The universal mind does not judge whether it's right or wrong, up or down. What it does is it gives you exactly what you're thinking, clearly, repetitively, what your intention, what you are willing into effect, what you're invoking at all times, and it picks up and it starts to record all of these different thoughts and all of these different feelings that begin to portray the exact vision. And it then plays it out through the universe and sends it back to you. So, this is very, very important to be aware of this. So, he says, whatever ideas you have in your head are what you are going to get in life. So let me reread that point. This is on page 112 of chapter 19 of How Sweet It Is. It says, whatever ideas you have in your head are what you scale, that's the one that you're going to bring into your life. You're like your own fisherman. You're reeling in your thoughts, you see, and your thoughts are your fish. So you're constantly, in essence, feeding your life. So you have to be very careful how you present your thoughts to yourself, the feelings that you have that go along with it. So it's very, very important. And he said, this casting this attitude, how sweet it is, means that you're taking on a particular attitude with yourself. And that attitude then changes your direction. You either will have latitude, just going side to side, wavering, or you'll have altitude. You'll go straight up, you see. So he even says here as an affirmative treatment, I now enter the theater of my mind and shut the door to the world mind. Now that's very important because when you have a dream, it's important for you to share your dreams and the visions that you see with like minded people. When you share the dream with like minded people, then you have this spiritual cheerleading section going on around yourself. They will help reinforce the dream and the visions that you are seeing. But in what he says the world mind, he's talking about the collective mind. He's talking about that other percentage that may not have the same belief system, trust, faith, analyzing, may not have the same spiritual awareness that you have, which means we know we've often come across people, and they could be in your family, they can be in your circle of friends, they can be your co-workers, that will not hold the same vision that you have about things that are spiritual. So in order for you not to lose your direction, not to lose your path, not to lose your heart in what you enjoy doing, you have to do at least two things. Either share it with like-minded people, be willing to share it with like-minded people, people who trust and know you, people who honor you, people who are love you unconditionally, or keep it to yourself. Now, when you keep it to yourself, you're not doing it because you don't want to explain it to somebody, but when you keep it to yourself, you're just making sure you're not wasting the energy on the wrong people. Okay? We often run into people who can be jealous of our goals, of our opportunities, of our life. We don't know why they're jealous. They're just some people who are like that, who are coming from a whole nother avenue of expression. And some of them, you've heard the phrase, misery keeps company. So some people might be miserable about what they're going through. They might be so agitated they don't want to hear anything positive. So you come along with a positive message, a positive dream, a positive vision, and it will get shot down. So what you want to do is, if you don't have a positive group or circle in which to share your dreams and your visions with, then the best thing that you can do is hold it inside. Then when you do that, here's one of the things that does happen. When you hold the thought inside, along with the feeling, you get an opportunity to build upon it. You get an opportunity to refine it if you need to. You get an opportunity to bless it with more energy, more excitement, happiness, joy, determination, dedication, diligence. You are allowing yourself to add that much more energy onto it so that when it gets to its destination, when that dream flips into a vision and it becomes very clear to you, you will see everything in your path draw itself to you, you'll be able to make the proper decisions, be in the right place at the right time, dealing with the right people under the right conditions in the way that you're supposed to. When you are keeping it to yourself, you are allowing yourself to be guided by the divine source, which is what we're going to get into now with Dr. Wayne Dyer. Because he says basically the same thing. This is coming from his book. The late Wayne Dyer wrote this book. He wrote a lot of books, and I read a lot of them. His first book that I read way back in the 70s was Your Erroneous Zones. But here's the book. I've showed it before. Make sure I put it up here. The late Dr. Wayne Dyer. And this book is Manifest Your Destiny. And he said there are 9 spiritual principles for what? For getting everything that you want. And he really breaks it down in a very detailed format. There's so many steps that he has in here. This is his 4th chapter. And in the 4th chapter, he shows you how to put the principle to work. The 4th principle in this teaching is you can attract to yourself what you desire. Now, he has a lot of good points here, and I just mentioned it. Being secretive sometimes, the value of secrecy, to hold that information to yourself and let it birth itself on the inside of you, because it has a very unique energy and is connected to you. And he even explains it here. Your etheric energy body is yours and yours alone. So if you're holding that desire, that dream deep inside yourself, it will take on a certain quality and it will shift with you. All right, it will get stronger and it will get higher. So he's often talking about in his book too the nature of the vital force, which is chi energy, ki, which is prana. He is saying the nature of the universe is abundance. So the universe can't fail you because it is an abundant energy field. So anything that you plant in the universe has to come back abundantly, has to come back and prosper you. But you have to open up to it. You see, you have to open yourself up into this force. As he says, it's flowing, it's ever expanding, and it's unlimited. Okay? In the Science of Mind teachings and the Unity churches, they'll tell you God is an unfailing supply. Meaning an unfailing supply is an infinite supply. The God or divine mind, the divine source of the universe, the universal God mind that's also in you is unfailing. Okay, which means if you feel like you're failing, it just means that there's a part of you that didn't understand the universal procedure, so to speak. And that was to get the connection very strongly with the divine source inside of yourself and realize it is not outside of yourself. So one of the things he says leading into this is, and I'm going to read some bits and pieces. He said, it is your nature. This is Wayne Dyer. This is saying basically the same thing Reverend Ike is saying. He's just putting in another form of a language for you. He said, it is your nature. Now, what is nature? Nature is the truth of who you are. If you look up nature, you'll find out it's the truth, the unending truth, the infinite truth of who you really are. It is your nature to be able to attract, to expand. So, attract, to expand, to be unlimited. I'll say that again. It is your nature to be able to attract, to expand, and to be unlimited. The force is in you, and the force is outside you. So he said, you're like the outline, you're the border between the universe being all the way around you and then you. He said, but guess who the force is? He says, the force is you. By knowing the nature of this force and seeing yourself as a divine expression of it, and by going within to the power that permits you to picture a desire, and then tapping that power with a private, loving, cheerful knowing you are on your way to using this vital force in ways that were unavailable to you with your conditioned view of yourself. The conditioned view of yourself is what the collective mind has. We've often run into people that said, no, you're not going to be an artist. No, you can't be a musician. You don't have the skills to be a musician. You should get a regular job. Okay, well, you should go into this particular field rather than this other field. The important thing is, he's pointing out the same thing Reverend Ike said. Reverend Ike said, God is in you. The I am that I am, that's you. That's the expression, the infinite expression of God in you. Wayne Dyer says it this way: the force is you. You know, in the Star Wars movie, Yoda turns around to Luke Skywalker and he says, let the force be with you. Let the force be with you. Which means the force is you. You came out of that area. You came out of that energy. So, I want to skip to this point that I wanted to bring out here. And he says the source of your imagination. Now, he uses the word imagination, which is the same as we use imagination to visualize. Imagination is the act of creating an image. And in the word image, you will see magi, M-A-G-E, or M-A-G-I, if you bring the I in place of the E. So you're like this magical person, this magical being that is the force, that is the God nature in you, that's infinite, and it's your true nature. And the source, which means the center, the core of you, is the divine source. The divine source is another way of saying God in you. It is here that you are now making contact, he says, with the eternally moving, always alive source of light. Stay in this place within, and you will know conscious contact with the divine, all-creating intelligence. That's what people say, all that ever was, is, and evermore shall be. All that ever was, is, or ever more shall be, do, and have. It's the same. They're both saying the same thing. He said, you'll become consciously in contact with the divine, which is the all-creating intelligence. Now, that's the only reason why he's stated for us to be, in a sense of, to value the secrecy of the thought. You're not sharing it with people who are not on the same page with you. You're not going to share it with people who have an inkling of jealousy about you. Why? Because you hear that old phrase, they're going to rain on your parade. They don't want you to be happy. So you have to find those people who are happy like yourself, who seek happiness. When you find those who are seeking happiness like yourself, living out happiness like yourself, you will place those people in your environment. And that environment will create a certain magnetism. That magnetism that's created can be felt. You will radiate that energy in such a way that it will be felt. Now, here's some other highlights that he is saying here. He says, whatever picture you are able to create mentally will assist you in knowing that the creative energy is flowing through you. Reverend Ike said, dream the dreams and see the visions. Dream the dreams and see the vision. You got to write the vision. W-R-I-T-E. You have to write the vision. Inside the word W-R-I-T-E is R-I-T-E, which is part of what? The word writ or ritual. You've got to continuously do it. Okay? Then you feel that creative energy flowing through you. Dyer says your picture also provides a direction for the flow of energy, and your picture gives substance to its eventual appearance in material form. He says, you are not forcing anything with your picture. Reverend Ike said, don't force it either. He just said, recognize it when it comes. He says, strenuous effort is counterproductive to manifesting because it sets up the idea of a force that must be overcome. So Dyer says, get rid of the idea of forcing anything or making demands. He said, you can't force the universe. You can't demand it from the universe. Why? Because you're the universe. You're it. So, and you don't want to pressure yourself because you're it. Then he says, instead, imagine the creative knowing that allowed you to come into this world of form. So you recognize, as he said, the divine source, the divinity of who you truly are. That is your true nature. Your true nature is to be what? Unlimited, to be infinite. When you recognize that, then all things just keep flowing. You'll realize then the flow has already been there. See, when we feel disconnected, we don't recognize the flow. We don't see exactly what we need to see. We don't even see how the quote unquote little things that are going on around us are actually falling in sync with the rhythm of the divine source on a much bigger level. This is why I used to always say in numerology, the number 9 also means reach for the impossible. That way you pick up all the possibilities. When you reach for something that is so impossible, almost unimaginable, then it becomes imaginable. Because you start pulling up out of yourself, start pulling up out of the ethers around you, out of your environment, all the different possibilities. And the more you do that, the greater the possibilities become for you. And then nothing is impossible. All things says, I am possible. That's the hidden message in the word impossible. I'm possible. I am possible. I have the ability to possess all things that are possible. So he says, here's another point. He says, it is vital that you incorporate. Incorporate means to bring in, to make a part of you, the concept of a beginning and ending, or first and last with your mental picture. So when Reverend Ike said, write the vision, of course he's meaning the same thing. You must set up a premise in the vision. And what you will find is what's in the beginning should be what's at the end. That is experienced when people do what they call the martial art forms in karate called kata, or in tai chi we just call them tai chi forms. How you begin and how you end is also important. If you're facing a particular direction, let's say north, when you start the form, when you're done, you should end up north. Why? Because the form should take you in every possible direction that you are supposed to go in, which is taking you basically in a circle. And if the circle is done properly, you'll actually walk the Tai Chi circle. You'll walk even the borderline in between. But when you're done, you'll be facing north if you started north. Now, there are some styles where you're supposed to wind up facing south. There's some that say you should face east, and some that you face west. It depends on how the form was put together. Nonetheless, the beginning and the ending are the most important parts. Why? Because everything between those 2 points, the divine source expressing itself as you, is going to bring in several different, I'll call it mathematical formulas or operations that are going to change a part of the flow. It's going to change some of the elements. It may cause something crazy to happen. And yet, when you wipe your eyes and open your eyes up, you realize you landed on your 2 feet. You landed right where you were supposed to be. So, these things are important. He says, get in the habit to incorporate a beginning and ending concept. Now, what he also means by that is you're not looking at it like it's the end of something. What you're looking at is the principle of alpha and omega. Alpha is omega, omega is alpha. The beginning is the end is always the beginning of something else. It is usually of something else higher. So when you're striving to bring that point across, that's what you want to do. He says, here's another thing. He says, never limit the spirit in any way. That's why you only need the beginning. Have the idea, decide what you want, and have the end result. Okay? Because if you try to control all the other things in between, you're going to attempt to limit the spirit from carrying. See, spirit may have to bring something in of great magnitude or something that's so minute it doesn't look like anything. But that thing is a trigger for whatever is going to take you to the next level. He said, if you experience any kind of friction, know that it is an error in your thinking and picturing rather than the proof that the creative force is working incorrectly. So you have friction, so it's error in your thinking. If you're feeling that it's friction, he says you cannot originate the originating force. You can only distribute it. That's cool. You cannot originate the originating force. Why? Because you carry a part of it inside of yourself. You carry the divine source inside of you. So you can't originate something that's already been here billions and gazillions of years here and all over the universe. It is infinite. You can only distribute it. He said, just continue to tell the spirit what you want without telling it how you want it to happen. Just continue to tell the spirit what you want without telling it how you want it to happen. That's important. Spirit knows. Spirit knows more than we know. The universe sees all, creates all, originates everything. It's already there in the ethers. It knows the best possible way for you to receive it. Then you just, in essence, grow into it. He says, then retreat in faith and trust. You need not specify the details. Only be ready to see it particularize in an endless array of possibilities. So what does he say? Stay alert for the clues. There's always something cluing you in that's letting you know that something is coming up so that there are no surprises, you see. But the surprise is there's great joy. Then he says, keep your mental picturing to yourself. Now, that's what I said earlier. See, he's saying you value the secrecy, exactly what you want, unless there are people around you who think and feel and play and act and love this energy just like you do. In that biblical phrase, they would call it, do not throw pearls to swines. It's the same thing. Don't devalue the energy. Don't break down the energy by allowing people who are not on the same level, so to speak, who are not desiring goodness in their own life to be in your way. Now, see, there's the law of polarity takes place, which is the law of opposites. So the stronger your energy is going to get in this desire, in this dream, in this vision that you're seeking to put so much faith and trust in that it's going to come out on your behalf, you're going to draw 180 degrees opposite. You're going to draw to you people who see nothing. You're going to draw to you people who experience lack every day. You're going to draw to you people who are angry over nothing every day. You're going to draw to you people who are cluttered in their thinking, in their feeling, in their doing, in their having. You're going to have them around you. Now, the lesson for you is see them as teachers and stay mindful of what you are here to do. Mindful means put 100% of yourself into your project. He says here now, because you have to do this. He says what you want to attract is a private matter between you and God. God meaning divine source. You see, and what others have to recognize is they are of the divine source as well. They just became disconnected from it. So, in essence, if someone is asking you who's disconnected, you have to tell them they have to learn how to refine their connection so they can get pulled back on point, so that they can have their own personal experience with the universe as this beautiful egg dream and vision is going to get hatched. Okay, so it says discussing it with others will dissipate the energy in the direction of ego and the opinions of others. We have met, many of us, many people who have their opinions, who had a bad experience. I remember when my spiritual sister, was putting together her first expo. Many people were trying to tell her how she should do the expo. What they didn't realize is she didn't really had a conscious thought about it. She had a message given to her spiritually while asleep. And she woke up in the middle of the night. It says, do an expo. Her empathic nature picked up on that thought from her higher self that said, it's time to do an expo. And that was in 2013. And she actually talked about it in 2012 to me. And it kept going and going. And then the opportunity presented itself. Did it in a small venue. It was successful. Then she did it again. She did it two more times, and that was in 2013 when she did that one. Did two more in 2014. Did another one in 2015. Came around, did another one in 2016. But she's just following. She's not planning to have it. She's just following what Spirit is guiding her to do. And when she follows what Spirit is guiding her to do, it always works out for the best. So it is the same here. You have to watch where you're going to plant the seeds, where you're going to share the seeds. It's important. It's the same thing if you're a farmer. You're not going to throw seeds into dry ground. That ground has to be moist. You got to dig and find the moisture in the earth. That's where you plant the seed. If not, the seeds are just like your ego tripping. He says, remain independent of the good opinions of others, because everybody has good opinions. They just may not understand your particular path and why you're doing what you're doing. And keep yourself fixed on your ability to attract whatever it is that you previously thought was missing in your life. See, so when people have their opinions, which is their views, sometimes they're coming from a good place, but it may not necessarily be on the same page with you. It may take you off course, you see. So their opinion is just really their view. But it's the same if you were trying to offer them your view or your opinion. Because you're not in their shoes, you don't know exactly what it is that they're getting ready to experience or what it is that they're already going through. So you have to realize this. And in your realization of this, things can get better. He said also what you have to do is banish any guilt about your past actions. You also have to get rid of your thoughts or feeling about lack and scarcities in life. The late Reverend Ike used to say, get out of man's economy, get away from man's man-made economy and get into God's economy, which means if you pay attention to the universe is going to lead you no matter what you see going on in the world around you. Short of cash, short change, short supply, but the universe could bring your supply from halfway around the world. It could bring it from across the country. It could bring it from another location. Or it will just what? it will meld the physical world with the spiritual world. It will cause the spiritual world to deposit a cash flow into your material life. And many people have had those experiences when those things have happened. It'll feel like they don't know how they got those extra zeros in their account, but they're there. Because the mindset and everything was therefore aligned for it to take place. So he says, banish any guilt about your past actions. There is no past. That's important. He said, there is no past in the all creative force of energy. Past doesn't exist, only now. So whatever we're doing now, when we have the thoughts about what was past, it's still in the now. It's not as prevalent. It doesn't have a fulfilled purpose because you already have gone through it. He says now. He said there is only the universal now. He said now you recognize that you have manifested all that you knew how to attract to yourself in the past, but you just let it go because why? You're unlimited. So it can happen in numerous ways again. He says now, as you recognize this, now you're going to shift this awareness into a new way of being. See, Reverend Ike is already telling you, you want to be in a position to be, do, and have. You have to shift your awareness to the divine source of who you truly are, the God in you, the Christ consciousness, the Buddha consciousness in you. So when you're doing that, you're shifting your awareness into a higher power. Therefore, you're self-empowering yourself. You're re-elevating your mind. And what appears to be, here's a code, realms of consciousness means you are elevating the alms. ALMS is an offering. Offerings. You're re-elevating. You're repeating the offerings, but you're re-elevating the offering so that you're bringing your energy up to match the divine source. It's you're matching the divine source inside yourself. So I don't even have to read any more. I just want to leave a decree. I'm getting ready to close this show out. It is 6:01 p.m. We got about 14 more minutes to go. We're keeping these shows as concise as necessary so that you get this information. I want you to replay the show as soon as it goes off the air. Now, I didn't leave any messages in the chat room because I don't want to steer your mind with those little tidbits. I want you to just go into it. So I'm going to show you again. What you really need to do is get yourself a copy of Manifest Your Destiny by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer. It's also he has it in audio cassette form too before he left the planet. And you need to go to www.revike, which is REVIKE.org. And you need to go in there and you need to get this book right here. This is his 5th edition that he put out long ago. He put it out in perhaps around 2009. So you can go and get this book. It has 52 chapters. The first chapter is for the first Sunday, the first week in January, and that 52nd chapter is for the 52nd Sunday in the year of that entire week. So you can read the chapters over and over and over, year to year, week to week, month to month, and it'll get stronger and stronger. He even has one lined up for Mother's Day and one lined up for Father's Day. You should get this book. It's very powerful, very potent, very simple teaching, very direct teaching, and it still works. It still works today. He's talking about the infinite good in you. I have it, you have it. It's infinite. Wayne Dyer is talking about the same thing. The infinite divine source. Begin to identify yourself with this infinite divine source because that is your true nature. The infinite divine source is unlimited. Your true nature is to be unlimited. And when you begin to think that way, as these two people are saying, when you begin to think that way, you begin to take on the aspect of the divine source. Therefore, you start thinking and acting like a divine being on earth in this physical form. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to perhaps end this show with some decrees. I'm feeling the vibration come up. I want to let you know if you want to be always in touch with me, I have two emails. They read the same, but they're with two different accounts. One is iam.circleofgrace1 at yahoo.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 at yahoo.com. Those of you who love using Gmail, I'm there too. iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. Be sure to stay in touch. I have some very interesting projects going on. Um, if you want to find out how to get a hold of my 5 basic spiritual courses in PDF, email me at any one of those, and I'll give you the steps. I'm beginning to work on some other PDFs, about 5 or 6 more. The first one I'm thoroughly going on and revisioning is how to scan and read and clear auras to see them. I'm going to have something called energetic palmistry. I'm also going to have handwriting is mind writing. So going to be pulling together some samples that you can see in picture format, so you can see how to read a signature or a paragraph written by somebody or yourself. Also, there will be the art of pendulums will be in there, and energetic palmistry. Energetic palmistry is a very interesting field of awareness, and there's some things you want to pay attention to that will help you understand that even before you get ready to shake someone's hand, you'll be able to feel the energy emanating through that person, and you'll be able to get a reading. And it's usually a very accurate reading about the individual that you're shaking hands with. These are some of the things that I'm working on. I have another project that I'm working on as well. I'm revising a book with help of my friends here, and I'll let you know when that book is going to be out, and I'm sure it could help you as it helped me when I first wrote it, and there's some beautiful additional chapters being brought into it again. All right, so before we close this out, I feel this vibration coming on me here. Through divine power and by divine grace, I see and decree that all who have this opportunity to witness a new life with themselves know that there's this newness about you. There is this rebirth, this renewal that is going on inside of you. Knowing that your awareness has shifted not only from the words that you felt and heard here today, but also the words that you've been receiving for some time that have been planted deep inside yourself. Thoughts that you've had about seeking change, thought that you had about taking an adverse condition and making it a more positive condition for yourself. In fact, are freeing yourself from conditions. You're freeing yourself from the collective mind. You're freeing yourself from doubts, illusions. You're freeing yourself from old habits. You're freeing yourself from the ways that you used to think, and you are allowing yourself to step into a new reality, a new destiny that you are creating at this very moment. Not only are destined to have a new life, but you've been already preordained to have several new lives. So you are now moving in the proper direction for yourself. I also see here, the Spirit is showing me here to just run down the first letter of the alphabet, and I will probably not get through the entire alphabet, but the Spirit is saying those whose first names start with the letter A, know that you have everything within inside you. You have the understanding of the fire element, the air element, the water element, the earth element, and how they are comprised in ether or spirit. And so you need to delve into that. That's like if your name is Andrea or Ann or Anna or Adrian or Arnold or Aaron. Aaron, you got the double A's if your name is Aaron. I got a bright white light behind that. So obviously there's going to be a person with the front name Aaron is going to be hearing this. Also, if your first name starts with the letter B, B is like the birch tree. It's about rebirthing and birthing new ideas. It's all about the growth. The letter C, look at it like a horseshoe magnet. You're getting ready to be creative and you're getting ready to draw in new creative mindsets and heart sets for yourself so that you can move on to a higher plateau. If your name starts with the letter D, like in David or Dolores or Dolores or Darnell or Darrell or Darren, these names that start with the letter D means you are an open door unto yourself. You are this gateway where everyone can come to receive. If your first name starts with the letter E, such as Eddie or Edward or Errol, or yes, Errol, Erol and Ell, Errol, or Earl. These kind of names, or Eugene, these kind of names mean that your memory is being shifted around inside yourself. There's going to be some things that you might forget, but in the process of your forgetting, the spirit with you, your higher self, is pulling away the cobwebs, getting rid of the old thoughts, the doubts, and the illusions, and replacing them with something brand new so that you can move forward. So that you can move forward, upward, and outward in your life. If your name starts with the letter F, your first name, know that you have the power. That F is like a key that unlocks many doors, unlocks many locks, and puts things in your path that you can utilize. See the F like a flag if you want. You can wave it into the universe to gain attention. These are for people who have the names Frank, Francis, Frederick, Pharrell, things of those names going on. That letter F is going to do something for you. It's going to pull energy into your life. If you have the letter G in the first name, especially the very first letter, that letter G means you have a lot of generous energy coming into your life. You're going to be having a state of gratitude and grace in your life, but you're going to be blessed with new things that are going to come into your life that are going to assist you. If you have the letter H, understand the science of breath and the science of breathing. This is very important for you because you're going to change the way you think just by the way that you breathe, and it will bring more energy into your life. If you have the letter I, this is the spinal column. This is the energy that flows. It's a very fiery letter. It also means that the spirit of the Kundalini can flow up and down through your spine. So there's going to be an awakening for those who have the letter I, but you must overcome the ego part. And then the letter J. I'm going to say J, K, and L so we don't forget them. J, K, and L. These are for the Janices. These are for the Janes. These are for the Jameses. These are for the Johns, or short name Jack. J is like a fish's hook, you see, and is also inverted like a cane. So those of you who start with the letter J in your first name, you're going to gain assistance and you're going to be able to hook the proper things into your life. You're going to bring prosperity and more abundance into your life, which also means you're going to be able to change any health conditions that are going on the inside of you. Then also, those with the letter K, you carry with you the virtue of the Kundalini energy. So K, like Kundalini, the serpentine energy, you're carrying the virtue of it. So that means you're in touch with the angelic force. So you're going to be able to gather things from the universe and then distribute them onto the earth. If you have the letter L, you must stand upright in everything that you're doing. Think of a T square, okay, a right angle triangle. So that letter L also attracts, just like the letter C, but you must stand on the square, stand upright with, you must conduct yourself in a positive manner so that you can receive the things that you need to receive in your life, and so things that can flow to you a lot better, okay, and things will be on point for you, especially this week. Alright, so we've done J, K, L. How about M? M is the mothering vibration. This vibration, if you see it, is like two V's upside down. You flip it, it's a W. So people with the letter M have the power to receive and release at the same time and pull the energy back up underneath themselves and therefore prosper from the energy at the same time. You're very giving and very nurturing. This is the year and this is the month, especially for those with the letter M's. Coming into March and coming into May, there's going to be a golden opportunity to receive a greater blessing that you ever received in your life before. Your visions are going to change, your dreams will change. You will see things for others that you normally would not have seen, and you will be able to see spirit walk right in front of you and almost literally touch it. Those of you who are coming with the letter N, you're going to be in a series of transitional movement around your life, but you need to stand still with your emotional energy just a little bit. You need to temper it a little bit more. Those with the letter O and the letter P, this is a very unique time because the letter O's and the letter P, you have an opportunity to complete anything that you started from 6 months ago. So you want to look forward to completion of all of your projects. And the letter O reminds you to stay open. Letter P, stay aware. Okay, those who we just did NOP, so what do we have? Q, R, and S. Q is like a question. Q is to conquer. Q looks for the quest, looks for the opportunity, looks for what can be added onto it or what needs to be multiplied, what needs to be subtracted, and what needs to be divided or cut off. Q has to question things. So it's very, very important. Those who had the special name like Quintrell. So you want to look at things. When you think of the letter Q, sometimes Q is like quadrants, okay, or quintets, things coming in fours and fives. So the Q personality should be very important about what they attract that sets up a border, sets up a foundation, which is the number 4. They don't want to have to work too hard. And then you have the 5 vibration there to allow yourself to adapt to changes as they happen. And then you have the letter R, and R means resilience. It's this opportunity to get strengthened by the words that you have and to get stronger and stronger and stronger. It is the will of the mind or volition. It is also the nature of the sun in you. So those who start with the letter R, you will actually receive the benefits from your own thinking processes. And if you work with the degrees of compassion, things will work out on your behalf. Those who have the letter S, now that is the serpentine energy. The S is related to the K and the S is connected to the I. So the S is the curvy kind of energy. That's that S shape that you see inside that yin and yang circle. So you have the energy to turn things around to your advantage. You have the letter S, you're going to turn things around. You're going to develop more stamina in your approach, whether it's in business or it's anything that's artistic that you're doing. People with the nature of the S need to change the way they think, live, act, and do. This is very important because if you don't make certain changes, especially coming up in March and coming up into the summertime frame, right into September, you'll find yourself falling into a ditch, in your own thinking. In other words, you'll start doubting yourself instead of moving forward. Those who have the letter T, you don't need to bear a cross anymore. You just realize you're like the letter L. You need to stand on point, stand on your principles, and live your life freely. Those of you who have the letter U, you're sort of like the letter O, and you're sort of like the letter W. You're sort of like the V and the W. So U, V, and W share this message. You can capture and hold on. U likes to act like a chalice or a cup, and it likes to share its energy. So if you have the U in your life, share your energy. If you have the V in your life, share the energy. V is being victorious. If you have the double U, which is the double V or the double U, you will be able to share the information and hold on to information for yourself. And this will be very good. Just don't be hard on yourself. And then you have X, Y, and Z. X is about partnerships. So those who have the name like Xavier, okay, it's all about a partnership. And the partnership is with the divine. Those who have the letter Y is a number of transmutation and transformation. Your life will change for the better. And those who have the letter Z, think like a thunderbolt, lightning bolt. Things come to you fast, and you will still survive. You will still thrive. I see and decree that all that has been said will carry itself out, that all that receive it and replay this in the archives here for at least 1 month here at Ustream, or go to my YouTube channel within about 30 to 45 minutes. You can just play it over and over and over, and you can take it, download it from there too, and keep it on your laptop or on your notepads or on your iPads, whatever you're using. Thank you so much for following this show on a weekly basis, allowing me to bring you these messages, and know that it is for you and it is your time. Until next time, my grace is your grace. As Akhenaten would say, our grace is your grace. And I always love to say, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. See you next Thursday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 6 Central, 4 Pacific, and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be right here. Thank you. Woo!